The question this afternoon is how to not be a hostage to this coronavirus. It's very easy to feel powerless, to feel fear, to feel the threat that affects you in terms of mindset, emotions, social behavior, etc. So the question is how to come back to a sense of power and security, even when we're in uncertain times. We refer to this as a psychological hostage. We don't want to be a psychological hostage. And that means to be able, even if you have a gun to your head, to be able to breathe, to be able to act, to be able to intersect with the situation and the consequences. And it starts in the mind's eye, and I'm reminded of a beautiful story of a father who was out fishing with his daughter. And suddenly, as they were fishing with a clear blue sky, she said, "Daddy, Daddy, I can see beyond what my eyes see." And that's exactly what we're talking about with the mind's eye. Being able to look at perception, be able to look at reality beyond what is obviously there. In fact, being a psychological hostage means you come back to the control, first of all, over your mindset and your thinking. How do you do that? Well, you mostly come back to focusing on the present. You also come back to understanding perception, because if you watch too much of the news media, you watch too much actions in the paper and so forth, it's easy to get discouraged or filled with fear. Now, we want to know the truth. We don't want denial. It is a threat. It is a crisis. By the same token, we have to be able to manage the perceptions and be able to focus on what really is the reality of what's happening. In addition, it's controlling the emotions. The emotions guide the mind's eye to a large extent. So if you're feeling grief and you're feeling fear, you're feeling sadness, you're feeling anger, whatever it might be, and the emotions of a crisis are pretty profound. How do we come back, take a deep breath, and come back to a state of joy in an authentic way? So being a psychological hostage means you somehow let your emotions be controlled by the event or the thing that's happening around you. You don't want that. You want to be able, as Nelson Mandela did for those 27 years in prison, to feel free even when you are not free. So as a psychological hostage, you're going to feel powerless. How do I step out of that? How do I manage my mindset, my emotions, and be able to come back to the idea of playing to win, being able to see opportunities? As this little girl said, I can see beyond what my eyes can see. There are opportunities out there. There is something good going to happen at the end of this. And that means also that you find meaning and purpose in what is going on. What meaning and purpose is possible to find in this crisis? Well, many. But the most important one is learning. And as many people have said, including Edith Edgar and Viktor Frankl, even in the worst catastrophe situations, there are some things that you can learn. And this was a possibility for all of us to learn what it means to really experience the joy of life, to learn to go through very difficult situations, which if it doesn't kill you, and I say that very selectively, it'll make you stronger. And so it depends on how we focus with our mind's eye, how we're able to manage our emotions, and ultimately how we're able to change our behavior to lead ourselves before we lead others. Because if you are in a negative state, in a state in which you are filled with discouragement and fear, you're not going to be able to lead others. And as all of you out there are leaders, be sure to remember you have to be able to lead yourself first and then lead others, helping them be able to have the right mindset, to never, ever be a hostage to anyone, anything, or even mostly to yourself.